What's up, everyone? Welcome back, or welcome here. Happy Monday. And what are we talking about today? So we have a few questions. We've been talking to a ton of students, current students, almost graduate from almost graduating pretty soon. Like I think weeks, a couple months, to having some time left.
Yes.
A good amount of time, or people that are even going into like secondary programs like barbering and things like that. And we brainstormed these podcasts and we came up with a few questions. So the first one we're going to ask is, what should students be focused on while they're in school? And I think we've talked about that in the past. And then we're going to jump into how to move from student to successful stylist, taking into consideration speed. So we want to get these people there quickly. And then we'll jump into how salon owners can help students make that transition from student to stylist and find their way into the industry with some success. And we'll talk about that, what that means.
Love it.
So let's start with, what should students be focused on while they're in school?
Yeah, let's.
All right.
You want me to go?
It doesn't matter. Whatever.
I think even if we have talked about this in the past, now that we've been talking to a lot of students, I think it helps brainstorm for them, because they come to you with the struggles like they're having, information even that they're being told. So it's been fun, I guess, kind of interviewing them back and trying to figure out how we can help them. Obviously, not all salons are created equal and everyone has a different program. But I think one of the things that we're looking for, or that I would recommend, is going and trying to find a salon you might want to work at and start either shadowing there or doing some reception work, or get some education going with that salon so that you are progressing simultaneously while you're in school. And you can start to figure out if that is your salon you want to work at after. You can also just getting your foot in the door and see how salons operate. That to me would really help you get ahead.
Yeah. So I'm going to base this on what I've been hearing, and what I've been hearing for years, not just the experience of these students that we've been talking to recently, but my experience through school, and then even hearing about stuff before that. But I would be really careful with adopting this mindset that school just gets you ready for a test. Now, I know that's what everyone thinks and says, but are you thinking that because everyone else thinks and says that?
Right. If everyone's saying it around you, that's what you're focused on.
Right. And we've talked to people, and I don't think there's any sort of malicious intent. I don't think that the curriculum is set up to make you just graduate and pass a test. I don't think, from what I've seen, that is the issue. I do think it's just the mindset. It's like a monkey see, monkey do mindset. And if everyone is headed towards one thing, I would question if you should too. I always do that. So if everyone is like, this is the way it's done. I did this with my gym, and I ran into a lot of issues because of it, but I learned a shit ton because of it. I had a CrossFit gym, and everyone assumed that you would operate just like the other CrossFit gyms, because no one had a business background. No one knew what the fuck they were doing. They're just making shit up.
Yeah.
And so when everyone starts doing things, you start doing them, and then you're like, why am I doing this? Right. So my thought is that you can always learn something from everyone.
Yes.
There's always. So don't have that mindset. And if you do, it's okay. I remember being in school, in barbering school, and talking to one of the instructors, and they said, this is around the time where somebody inevitably is like, there's nothing else I can learn from you.
Right.
And I'm like, really? Because the barber program, it's not that long. Like, it's
and you're learning
relatively short.
Generally, your instructor, well, actually, of course, your instructors have done hair longer than you have. They always have something to offer. Just, are you willing to listen to it? And are you willing to accept constructive criticism? And do you have an open mind?
Okay, so not even that, but there's always some lesson you can learn from another human being.
Correct.
So to shut down and say, and so anyways, where I was going with that story is, I think it was like 24 hours later, like the next day, someone came up to me and was like, there's nothing else I can learn here. I'm just ready to get out of here. And I was like, oof, you're going to have a long strenuous, stressful career.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly going to think you're all set and there's nothing else to learn. You should open your mind up while you're in school to all the things that you said. Be open to the criticism. Be open to all that stuff.
Put effort in.
Be open to learn. Yeah, put some effort in. Be open to learning haircuts and all that stuff. But also keep your eyes and ears open for life lessons, man. You're also around other students who are like, so the assumption is cosmetology students are young. Well, we've met some that have young families.
All over the place. Yes.
We've met some that are married. We met some that are getting married. We met some with children. They're all over the place. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people are, I didn't ask people's ages, but I'm pretty sure that people aren't graduating high school, getting married, and having kids right now. Yeah. So there's definitely an age spread.
I think this also goes into being honest with yourself. What are you putting in to get out of it? So yes, school is set to give you a foundation. They're going to teach you the basics, and it's your job to do something with that. We just
become virtuous, like get really good at those basics while you're in school so that you're not fumbling around with your fucking comb when you get done with school.
And don't worry about don't focus on the negative stuff. Well, they didn't teach us this, they didn't teach us that. Okay, well, what are they teaching you? Focus on that, or ask for help. Like, that is on you too. And maybe you're only getting a little bit, because if you don't look like you give a fuck, then they're not going to give you their energy.
No, there's too many students. So our local school, and there's, I believe, one, right?
Yeah, now.
There's one left standing locally here. And they've absorbed students from other schools that have been forced to close. And I don't fault them, because so sometimes we hear classes are too big. The classes are, there's not enough coverage, like you're saying.
Instructors per student.
Now, go be the favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know, maneuver. Take advantage of the situation.
Yes.
Ask for extra help if you need help with something. Don't blame, because if you start doing that when you come out into a salon, you're gonna start blaming because it's not gonna be your fault.
I get that. I've heard people recently even just like, well, school taught us this way. I'm like, you're not in school anymore. You've been here at our salon for this long. Like, ask the questions.
Yeah, I don't care how school taught you. It's not how we do it.
They didn't do you dirty. They taught you what they could, and you can only retain so much. So they may have taught you. That's just not the part you retained. Like, you don't know, and it's okay that you don't know. You don't have to blame. Just like, oh, hey, I didn't know that. Please teach me more. Something like.
Yeah, so we had somebody at our salon who was new out of school. They were a barber, and they're not with us anymore. So if you're listening, it's not you. But they did something on a haircut, and I pulled them aside and I was like, why did you do that? And they were like, well, at school I was instructed to, and I was like, okay, stop. Why did you do that here? And they were like, well, at school. And I was like, okay. I looked around and I was like, do you see me looking around? Yeah.
You're not at school.
We're not at school. This is our business.
It's now you have to take the next journey or next step in your hair journey.
Right. I do not care what school taught you. That's cute. Yeah. This is my business.
And now it's real life.
This is how we do it here.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Not knocking the school at all, but the school doesn't run my business. So, they're their business. If I had an opportunity to make more money, I would take it. And that's what schools do when they have these large classes. Right. They have to. They probably have a ton of overhead. Mm-hmm. They probably have square footage of these spaces, which are way too big. Mm-hmm. And by probably, I mean, we've toured them and we were offered one.
Yeah.
And it's just insane. Yeah. So the overhead is huge. Just the operation. Yeah. So if you have an opportunity to bring in a whole bunch of students, that's what you should do, because that's a business, and you should treat it like a business. And I would never knock a business for doing what's best for the business.
Right.
Unless it's shady or whatever.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I don't think these people are out to harm anyone.
No, I don't either.
I do think a big part of it, your school experience is going to be positive or negative based on your attitude.
I would agree.
That's what it breaks down to. If you have a positive, inquisitive, open mindset, you're going to get good stuff out of school.
Yes.
If you go there and you're like, I'm only here because I have to get my license. This is dumb. Or you're like, I've already been doing this now for 2 months. I already know it. Like, you know what I mean?
I think too, I would highly recommend find something that you when they teach it, you're kind of good right from the bat. Because there's always going to be some stuff that you're like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. Get really good at that. So then when you get out and you get in that salon, you've got a few things that are actually truly strengths so that you can showcase that. And then that salon, if they're there to help teach you, they can help you with your weaknesses so you can be a stronger stylist right out of the gate.
For sure. Yeah. Good advice. Anyways, I think we beat up that topic there. Good. So let's move on. So anyways, students, it's your experience. Make it a positive one.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the fastest way to move from student to successful stylist? I think for both parties. So as a mentor, salon owner, salon manager, salon stylist that's taking on an assistant, whatever that looks like. I think both people need to sit down and define what successful means so that you guys are working towards the same goals. Mm-hmm. Because a stylist might be like, well, I need to make money to pay off that school loan that I took. Mm-hmm. And the mentor might be like, I want you to get really good at haircutting. And those things will eventually get you to the same spot. But if you're taking off from two different spots, that might get a little rough. Mm-hmm. And it might cause a little bit of friction, I would imagine.
And that's just being good, I think, at communicating so you're on the same page. Because it is an often thing where people think they're on the same page, but they haven't.
A frequent thing?
Did I say frequent?
No.
What did I say? Often?
You said it's an often thing.
Oh, gosh.
It's a frequent thing.
It's a frequent thing that you may think.
It's a frequent occurrence.
Yes, you are on the same page, but you have not addressed what that page looks like. So just because you might be like, oh, I'm hiring an assistant, they should know the expectations. They don't know.
Oh, God, no.
So you need to lay them out.
How would they know?
You need to lay it out. And if you're getting frustrated, I want you to ask yourself first, did you lay it out? Were you clear? And if you're like, oh, shit, I wasn't. Before you get irritated, go lay them out now. Then they get a second chance because you didn't do your job. I've run into that even with my own self, like certain things that might happen in the salon. And then I'm like, I don't think I was clear about that. So I'm getting frustrated, but it's really with myself. And a good leadership will recognize that. So now I need to go lay this out so everyone understands where they stand so that we're all on the same page now. Like, oh, I didn't know. Yeah, I know. I didn't tell you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. If you don't lay out what success looks like for you so if you're a mentor or a stylist that's bringing on an assistant or a new person under your wing, it's your responsibility to lay out what the next week is going to look like, what the next months, what the next years that you expect. Mm-hmm. Because it's not fair to put so would you go start a job and have no training?
I hope not.
And training isn't just like, okay, let's make sure you can do these haircuts because you just came out of school and we all know they just get you ready to pass a test. Like that's not very positive.
So for currently, if you don't listen to our podcast, I have an apprentice and I not only meet with her every month.
If they don't listen to our podcast, they're not going to hear this.
Shit, you're right. Okay, so you must know that I have an apprentice. Yeah. So we check in daily, weekly. But what I do is the beginning of every month, I have a clear laid out plan for that month, and that does two things. It clearly shows her what I expect from her, but it also keeps me accountable that we hit all the things. And when I go into the next month, we revisit my list of stuff that we were supposed to cover that month to make sure I hit everything? Did she hit everything? Because I want us to keep moving in a great direction. And that helps then us keep building a great line of communication and a great plan of action for us and for her to keep growing.
Yeah, I don't see how else it could run. I'm stuck for words here because I keep thinking of examples of in the past. Like if a person shows up and for a new job and say they're waiting tables and they came from a different restaurant, they know how to wait tables, but they don't know how you do it at your restaurant.
So you have to lay that out.
And that's the nuanced stuff that you have to teach somebody. I know you know how to answer a phone because everyone that I'm talking to from cosmetology school, most of them either grew up with cell phones or, like I had a cell phone when I was a kid. So everyone younger than me has a cell phone.
Yeah.
It's how we do it at our salon. That's the difference. Yes. It's what we expect at our salon. And it's building that helps build your brand. And that's what people are looking for. People want leadership. The industry is like in a weird spot because it's like freedom, freedom, freedom. We want freedom. But then everyone gets offered freedom, and then they're wondering why they're not hitting marks of success that they thought they would
So
hit.
that's where I was going to say, we give tons of freedoms, but with that comes often check-ins, because like I had said previously, frequent check-ins, because people only retain so much. So if we do an expectation and then they're hired and they go, they only from that first meeting retained a small percentage. Yeah. So we have to do these often frequent check-ins, because whether the things have changed or now they're ready to take on more and they can understand more of what's expected of them. But this way too, with freedoms comes responsibility, and rules that you follow and that you can manage that. It's not just a free for all.
Yeah. Free for all is not a good idea.
No. But you can give a lot of freedom in your business as long as you have rules and structure that clearly lay out what those look like, and then accountability for that.
Yeah. I think too, like I was starting to say, the industry is like all about freedom, but you got to be careful, because most people can't handle just a free for all. Like you're saying, they can't handle, like, for example, if you're not able to show up on time when you have a boss, if you move to like a rental suite, you're never going to fucking be on time.
No.
Because now you're the boss. No one's going to care if you show up or not. It's just it's sort of a weird thing that everyone chases. And I don't know where that stems from. I don't know if that comes from just bad information. I know rental is, this is not a rental topic or episode, but I know that's like what a lot of people work towards, but not everyone's going to thrive in that scenario. Not everyone should work towards that. If you do want to work towards it, that's fine too. I don't really care what you do, but I'm just saying, like, you've got to set up rules for yourself at that point. But along with all of the freedom that people crave, I think the rules, or even just like the formatting, if you want to call it, of the like business that you're working at need to be defined.
Agreed.
That's what people want. That structure creates opportunities where people can see like into the future, because they understand, like, if I do these things for this long, I should be here. Right. If I put in a true honest effort for 6 months to a year and a half, say, I can build a decent clientele. Right. But it's the putting in the work. It's not just like showing up and then like coasting for that time.
Showing up is not enough work.
So I think, and I think a lot of
that's expected.
A lot of businesses, what I see, I know they're desperate, because they're all sponsored ads that I see on like Instagram, and if you go on Facebook, you see the same shit, but it's all like, come work for us. We offer all this freedom, and no one's going to do this. No one's going to take this from you, and you're going to have all this stuff. And also we'll do your laundry for you. Like it's just like come on, just create opportunities for people to be
most people just want a mature professional environment. Like that's it. Yeah. And just be able to talk normal.
And one that's solid, like a business that's a business, so that you don't have to always question everything. Like
we're straightforward. So that's, even when we interview, it doesn't take that long. So I'm like, this is it. This is what we do.
And I feel like our branding is consistent too. It's not like we're giving away free products one day and trying to get people in, and then we're running deals on that. Like it's that sort of stuff gets difficult to keep up with too. And it gets confusing to your clients because, you know, for example, do you believe in your pricing or do you not? Right. All right. So the other point I had on moving, the fastest way to move from student to successful stylist is or hair pro if you're a barber. Hair pro. I don't know why I said that. Work on getting in the reps and creating a solid foundation. Yes. For that's your technical and your soft skills. Yep. So yes, you need to be good at hair, but you also need to be able to put a smile on or have a conversation with somebody. Yes. Or whatever.
I don't think people realize how much goes into it. It's not just about the hair. You know, you've got to get good at consulting. You've got to get good at like showing up and somewhat like look the part. Like that's all part of it.
You have to look the part or nobody's going to want to sit in your chair. Period.
Right. If I don't want to sit in someone's chair who's can't do their own hair, how are you going to do mine? Like it's a real thing. If you don't like that, then you're in the wrong field. Like
Yeah.
People are judging you or looking at your hair and your makeup, and they're like, huh, that looks cool. I'll have her do my hair. Like, that's what they look for. Period.
Yeah. And we don't have per se a dress code, but because we like to have it fun. But if you come in...
Yeah, don't look like you're going to the beach.
Right. If you come in once in a while, like, and you have, I don't know, like a hoodie and like sneakers and jeans, like, that's fun.
Yeah.
But if that's your everyday, like...
You may need to step that game up.
Yeah, you have to step something up. You've got to separate yourself. I don't want to tell people how to dress.
You just got to stand out for your personality.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to think of things that I've seen in the past. People come in, they look run down almost. Yeah. Not their person, but they look like they just didn't put any effort into anything. And you're like, what is happening
here?
Give
a little fuck.
Like frumpy.
Yeah, frumpy. That's good.
All right. So let's wrap up with how can salon owners help students transition from student to stylist and find their way into the industry with success? Again, you have to define the success to start.
And the student needs to find the salon that has a program that fits their needs.
Yeah. So one of the things a piece of advice I would give you if you're a student, ask more questions. So.
And don't assume.
Yeah. Don't assume. That's
interesting to me when people come in like, well, I know all salons they say you have to do this. And you asked the other day, someone was like, well, what all salons? Like, who told you that?
Yeah, I remember this conversation. I was like, who told you that you had to do that? Because they don't speak for my business.
Right. So come on, here we are.
Yeah, again.
Be present in this interview.
Yeah,
here we are. What do you want to ask what we do?
I feel like the students that we've spoken to have all sort of asked the same cookie cutter questions. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I don't know if like schools need to step in, like here's how you interview, but they probably don't have time to add to their curriculum. So again, I don't know if it's there, like, unless they're trying to say, like, if the school says they help with job placement, I don't know, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I think they should. And I think that somebody along the way should teach people how to interview. So when you are, my screen just blanked and then came back. If you are coming in for an interview somewhere or a chat or whatever you want to call it, have some questions ready, but then be open to like having an actual conversation to discover information. Does that make sense? Like,
I think one even
don't just ask your list of questions and be like, that's all I have. Like, no, ask me sort of open-ended questions because it's going to pique my curiosity.
Yes.
And I know you have questions. First of all, I don't know why you waited to the end to ask about pay. I know you want to ask about pay.
I just now tell them because
we started telling people up front, but it's always funny when people are walking out the door and they're like, oh, I do actually have a question. And I'm like, let me guess, it's about pay. Yeah. How'd you know? Because the last 25 of you had the same question as you're walking out the door because you're nervous.
Yeah.
And I get nervous but
too.
You're there for a job. Jobs, you get paid for jobs. So
yes,
that's a big part of it.
You really need to look at an interview. And I say this frequently.
You say it often.
I do say it very often. I think I say it at every interview we take. You should be interviewing us or wherever you're going for any job. I don't even care if it's hair or not related, to see if you want to pick them back. Like, if you get picked, do you want to pick them back? Like, you don't have to. So if you go in and, you have your questions and you ask them and you can have a bit of a conversation because you're really looking like, is this a fit for me? A lot of times when people come in for an interview and they're like, I hope they pick me. Like, of course you want to get picked, but you also want to make sure it's a good fit. So the interview needs to be part of that.
Yeah. So for us, I go back to branding again. So our branding, like our website, you can look at that. And then when you show up to our salon, that's what it looks like. That's how it feels.
Yes.
When you look at our social media, that's what it looks like. That's how it feels. So it's authentic. You don't get that everywhere.
No.
Again, social media to me is perfect for being fake. I do not care. Yes. Create yourself.
Have fun.
An alter ego and be the real Slim Shady and Eminem. I don't care what you do, right? Have your alter ego, whatever you need to do for yourself, but it does help when it matches. Now, if it didn't match and I walked into a place after checking out their website and their social media, I would have some digging to do. Mm-hmm. I would have to ask questions. Mm-hmm. or you're just getting that fake surface.
Yeah. Or you might just need to leave because it's not a right fit for you. That's okay too.
I've had, I think, 2 people that I've reached out to, and I believe one is still in school. I think we bumped into her because she was like, your salon was just too far for me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I think her, and there was one other person that we had interviewed that we liked. And we were like, hey, we'd like to move forward with the next steps if you're interested on joining our team. And both times, I think it's happened twice now, like I said, the person has been like, either can I think about it because it was like too far or whatever, or they decided to move in a different direction. And I was like, what do you mean? Like I picked you.
Right.
What are you talking about? Like I just drafted you or something, you know? But it's something about it wasn't the right fit for them. I believe we didn't have an assistant program. It's really one person.
Was one, and the other one was too far.
2 or 3 people actually. I think so. Maybe it's like 4. And one was just a distance issue. They said if they ever moved here or if we ever opened another salon closer, they would work for us. No problem. That's cool. It's not like I met you and I think you're a jerk and I don't want to work for you. Well,
and it also helped us as owners how to interview better. Now we ask sort of, where do you live? Like, because you're excited and I get like what we offer it really is amazing. And I'm not saying just because we offer it, I'm saying it because I've been in this industry for 24 years and I know it's friggin' amazing. But we might need to draw the line for you because, you know, maybe it is too far and we have rough winters or certain things that seem fun. I can do this. And then before you know it, it's too much. So that has become part of our interviewing process also.
Yeah, for sure. If somebody lived far, I would still consider them if they were a good fit, but it would just be a point of
a different conversation.
Yeah, it would be like, okay, so you're comfortable driving in the snow. Like we'll shut down if it's crazy, but you know what I mean? There's certain days where you're like, we're going to open.
Yeah.
We also offer the freedom to move your schedule. So if you can move your clients to the next day, do it or whatever. But so what else can owners do to help students transition?
I think talking about pay, like you said, I would also, maybe not too much, 'cause you don't want to overwhelm them. But when they're like, oh, do you have an assistant program? And they, as an owner, you say yes. I think you need to define a little bit about what the expectations are for your assistant program. Because most students are asking that, and that's going to help make their decision. So I think you need to be honest up front as an owner as to what you bringing on this new stylist means for you and your business. So they really can have a clear picture of what their role will be. And that really, you got to be honest with that one. That to me is very, very important.
Setting expectations. Yeah.
Yeah, that and a clear, like really what you think this person's role is going to be coming in. If you really think they're coming in and they're going to just sweep and do laundry because maybe that's how you onboard them. I don't care what it is. But if you're like for 2 or 3 months, you're going to be
honest with that.
Yeah, that's your program, then tell them that. So for the first few months, this is what you'll be doing. After that, this is what you'll be doing. Like they need to understand that. And for some of these students, they're happy to be doing that. Like they maybe want a slower role or introduction into a salon, but they need to know that that's what it's going to look like for them.
Yeah.
Don't pretend it's something else and then like, oh, you're sweeping all the time now.
No, and it's wild. Like we've talked about stuff in the past, but we've heard horror stories. One girl, she thought she was an assistant and she was sweeping and answering phones. I think it was a year or a year and a half. And then the owner said, hey, you've been here for a year. We can talk about you taking the steps to enter our assistant program. And the girl was like, I thought I was in the assistant program. We've talked to pay comes up more than you think for good and bad reasons. Like, first of all, shame on you if you're not paying your people. Shame on you if you're a salon owner and you're trying to take advantage or you're trying to pay people through like what? Cash App or some like whatever people are
Venmo?
using. Yeah, Venmo. So we had spoken to somebody that there were 2 owners of the salon.
And they were both supposed to Venmo part of her pay every week. One would forget. One
would forget. But the one that would forget was also intimidating to talk to. Yeah. So they knew what they were doing. And that's just wrong. Weird. So you need to have the conversation. And if a salon owner tells you that they're going to split payments on Venmo, run. That's not a fucking business, first of all. And I don't like... It's
crazy when you say it out loud because this is how people are doing things.
Yeah, I don't like when people take advantage of people. That's something that has always irked me.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just like a scumbag move. Because if you don't know, don't be in business.
Yeah.
Like this game's not for everyone.
Yeah. And any job you're starting out in, you're so nervous. You just want to win. You just want to get ahead.
Well, and you probably take the job because they accepted you.
Yes.
So you're like, oh, I'm part of this.
Yeah.
But are you really?
Right.
You're not treated with respect.
No, it's a...
Anyways, so salon owners, don't piss me off. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, definitely set expectations. And I think that just comes with taking the leadership role.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier, answer question. I kind of poked fun at the pay structure stuff, but if you know someone has a question, just answer it for them. Yeah, that's probably good, huh?
I think so.
We're at like half an hour, so we're trying to. What did you just say?
Perf.
Why did you say that?
I don't know.
What are you, 12?
Yeah, sometimes I could be. I actually got some sleep last night because the kids are away, so I'm like, it's
We're in
weird.
bed at like 8:30.
I know. I'm a loser.
All right, we'll see you next Monday. If you need anything, reach out. Students, interview back.
Yes.
All right, bye.
Have a great day.